In 1975, a management professor named Stephen Kerr published a paper with a title so perfect it should be framed in every boardroom in the world. It was called "On the Folly of Rewarding A While Hoping for B." Nearly 50 years later, organizations are still making this exact mistake. Only now the stakes are higher. We stand up at all hands meetings and declare that we want innovation, teamwork, and customer centricity. We print it on posters. We put it in our massive mission statements. And then we build compensation and reward systems that encourage the exact opposite: empire building, internal competition, and a myopic focus on activity over outcomes. I want to tell you a hard truth about human behavior in the workplace. People are coin-operated. I don't mean that in a cynical way. I mean that people are rational. They will exhibit the exact behavior that maximizes their income and protects their careers. If you tell them you want collaboration, but you pay them for individual heroics, you're going to get the individual heroics. If you tell them you want efficiency, but you promote the person who built the biggest team, everyone will start building empires. The problem in your organization is not that your people aren't listening to you. The problem is that they are listening to your compensation plan instead of your posters. And the compensation plan is the only thing that tells the truth. I've spent a good deal of my life studying how organizations manufacture disengagement. How they take bright, motivated people, what I call zealots, and turn them into zombies. People who just show up, do the minimum, and go home. We talk a lot about bad managers. We talk about micromanagement. We talk about repetitive work. But the most insidious component of the zombie-making machine is the misaligned incentive. A misaligned incentive forces an employee to choose between doing what is right for the company and doing what is right for their own survival. Most people, quite rationally, will choose survival. When you put a good person in a bad system, the system wins every time. Let me show you exactly how this works. Perhaps no practice illustrates this folly more vividly than what salespeople call dialing for dollars. The model's brutal. See, salespeople are expected to dial 300 numbers a day. The goal is to have 10 conversations and close one sale. But here's the critical detail. They are measured and judged primarily on how many numbers they dial, not on how many sales they close. I have a mentor who started this in a role like this. Very sharp. She realized that the spray and pray model was inefficient. So she found a better way. She researched her prospects. She focused on high quality conversations. She called less. She sold more. By every meaningful measure, revenue, customer satisfaction, deals closed, she was the top performer on her team. When her annual review came around, she was marked down. Her call volume was too low. The organization told her in the clearest possible language, your intelligence does not matter. Your results do not matter. What matters is compliance with the process. She had been a zealot, and the system punished her for it. It was only a matter of time before she learned the lesson every zombie learns. Stop thinking, follow the script, and hit your dial count. Sometimes the misalignment isn't a process. Sometimes it's a number. Early in my career, I joined a software company. I threw myself into the work. I helped close the biggest deals in the company's history. By the end of the year, the company had its best year ever. At my annual review, I was promoted 2 levels, and the recognition felt right. And then they told me about the raise. 3%. This year was in the 1990s. The economy was running hot. 3% wasn't even a cost of living adjustment. I want to be precise about what that number communicated. The company's stated message was, we value you. You're one of our best. The compensation plan's message was, your exceptional performance is worth 3%. Those two messages cannot coexist. One of them is true. The number is always the one that is true. That is the moment that a zealot asks a new question. Not, how do I help this company succeed, but why should I? I saw this at scale at a large consulting firm. The CEO would stand up and say, if we solve big enough problems for our clients, the profits will take care of themselves. But the account managers weren't paid to solve problems. They were paid based on billable hours and the size of their teams. The most celebrated managers were the ones who built the biggest empires, regardless of whether the client actually needed a team that large. I met with the HR VP. I said, you're paying them to be inefficient. You're rewarding A while hoping for B. I got blank stares. The system was too entrenched. The result? The firm actively punished efficiency. They created a culture of mercenaries, not partners. This dynamic is the hidden engine behind why so many corporate transformations fail. When a company decides to adopt Agile or AI or any new methodology, they want the benefits of the new system. They want speed. They want innovation. But they refuse to change the underlying reward structures. They want Agile teams to collaborate, but they still run stacked ranked individual performance reviews that force team members to compare against each other for a limited bonus pool. They want people to experiment and innovate, but they still punish failure with career-ending reprimands. They want the siege engineers, but they want them to fight on horseback. You cannot buy transformation. You have to build it. And you cannot build it on top of a compensation plan that rewards the exact behaviors you're trying to eliminate. I've seen the reverse work just as powerfully. I coached a technology leader who managed through fear. Tight deadlines, public accountability for failures. The team was firmly in zombie territory. Then his organization restructured. They introduced a new compensation plan that included a team health component, measuring psychological safety, knowledge sharing, and mentorship. His behavior changed within a quarter. He started asking questions instead of issuing directives. He started celebrating team wins. 2 years later, his team had the highest retention rate in the division. When I asked him, he told me, I didn't change. The scoreboard changed. And that's exactly the point. People are coin operated. Change the coins. And you change the behavior. Change the behavior consistently, and you begin to change the belief system. Go back to your organization, look at the compensation plans, look at your promotion criteria, look at what you actually measure. Are you rewarding A while hoping for B? Because your people are listening to the scoreboard. Make sure it's telling them the right story. Thank you.